peeps? Mr. Bones back at you, and it is once again Wild Eye Wednesday. We're going to be talking about 2019's The Final Ride. Directed by Mike McMurran and written by Mike McMurran, stars Keegan Chambers, Annette Wozniak, and Matthew Chisholm. This is a nice little wraparound anthology based around this girl Jean, played by Keegan Chambers, who is a Uber driver, share ride, whatever you call it, and she picks up people, and throughout it tells the story of the different people she picks up. And this is comprised of 3 stories. The first one being about a fitness guru. It's about this young couple, Monica and I think Cody. I can't remember the husband's name, but they get their first apartment in the suburbs. And it turns out that it used to be owned by an old fitness guru, fitness instructor, trainer, whatever, who was like obsessed and insane about his methods and would take customers or clients, whatever, home to train them, and overworked one of them and they died. And then because he couldn't get any clients anymore, he shoots himself and kills himself in the apartment. So it's sort of haunted by him. And when they move in there, the husband finds a box of old tapes, fitness tapes, behind the furnace in the basement, and starts watching them, and slowly starts getting possessed by the fitness trainer, which gives it kind of a feel of, well, eventually the guy comes into the real world, and it kind of reminds me of like the horror show, aka House 3, or Shocker, or Trick or Treat with Ozzy, that kind of shit. It was a decent little story. I liked it. The second one was a weird little story about this guy who goes to a tattoo parlor with his friend who talks him into getting a tattoo, and then he passes out and doesn't get one. But it's a seedy little place, and it's weird. And then he goes home, and the tattoo starts spreading every day, like more and more tattoos all across his body. And he starts getting sick, and it's an interesting little story. Has a interesting ending to it. And the third one wraps around, has to do with Jean, the Uber driver. There's a serial killer going around, and she picks up this client, or I don't know what you call them, a person that wants a ride. And he puts a big ass bag in her trunk, and she jokes and says, do you have a body in that bag? And he jokingly says, yeah, how'd you know? So she starts freaking out and thinks he's the killer. But then they get pulled over, and this big ass dude dressed as a sheriff pulls him over and asks the guy to get out, and ends up killing him, and kidnaps her, gets her home to the garage. But she breaks out, and she's fighting back, and let's just say she's not that easy to kidnap and keep as he wished for. And this one, the third one, was my favorite story of the 3. I know I've only seen a couple reviews of this movie by a couple friends, and they preferred the first story, which is a good story, but I prefer the third one because I always like when the bad guys get what's theirs, you know? It's always fun to me when they think they're going to get a helpless woman and just do what they want with no problem, and the woman turns out to be a badass and shows them what's up. So yeah, that was my favorite. And this was a decent little story, a decent little anthology. And that's what I watched for Wild Eye Wednesday. Peace.